G'day everyone, it's Curtis here and welcome to an On the Back Wheel video. Today I'm doing my long-term review for my CF Moto 450 MT. I'm also going to talk about the build I've done on the bike and the mods, talk about ones I would recommend and what ones I don't recommend. As you can see, my bike is heavily modified, but I'm also going to talk about how the bike was before it was changed, and also talk about why I've done some of the modifications. 450 MT is an interesting one. You look at it on a spec sheet and there isn't anything exciting about it, but when you put everything together, it really works. Now, when I first got the bike, I wasn't really enamored after my first ride. I was kind of like, oh, everyone's been raving about this bike and I could pick a lot of things I didn't like. Thankfully, we've been able to fix nearly all of those problems. Now, when I first sat on it, the stock seat is really scalloped out. And I was quite cramped in the legs, and then standing up felt like a really long way up for me. Now, thankfully they did this stock high seat. Some people call it the rally seat. It's really cheap, it's about 190 Australian dollars. It's fantastic, it's soft and cushy, it's still firm enough where it doesn't hurt your butt on the longer rides, and it makes the seating position absolutely perfect. What's one of the great things about this bike is it's really approachable. The seating position, everything just feels completely natural and comfortable and neutral. Not some weird feeling bike. You know, CF Moto until now has been a bit of an unknown for a lot of people. This bike feels like a bike you've ridden your whole life. It's very comfortable and easy to ride and approachable. And probably the best trait of this bike is the handling. This bike is a fantastic handling motorcycle. Very stable, neutral. You're riding off-road, it tracks true and straight, yet it's still reasonably nimble when you want it to be. It is a great handling bike. The handling reminds me a lot of the Aprilia Tuareg, and people who watch the channel know that I just love that bike. I think it's fantastic. A great handling motorcycle, and this thing is extremely well balanced. They've done a good job with the handling. Now, the suspension is an interesting one. In stock form, it's decent. I certainly wouldn't say it's good or great. It does the job. The front shocks, forks are quite soft. They need to be re-sprung. They bottom out even at a moderate pace. The rear shock is actually really well sprung. However, it's kind of dead feeling and reactive at the same time. Not a good combination. Now, I have gone and got my suspension modified, revalved, resprung by Ride Dynamics and put on the dyno. Everything verified. It is really bloody good now, like extremely good suspension for the price of the bike. I believe it's about $1,100 to get all the suspension done. Worth its weight in gold. I can ride this bike as hard as any other adventure bike now off-road. It is extremely nice to ride in the bumps and whoops. You can push it hard. Then on the road, it's kind of adventure tour. It's cushy and comfy with this tall seat now and that relaxed riding position. Highly recommend getting the suspension done on the bike. But yeah, I can see a lot of people having complaints about the stock suspension. Look, it's built to a budget. It's a budget bike after all, but thankfully it's easy to modify and you get extremely good results out of it. Now, the engine, if you're coming from a street bike or motocross bike and enduro bike, you're going to be really underwhelmed and disappointed. This is not a fast motorcycle. It takes a lot of throttle to get going. You're twisting a lot to get off the line and keep up with traffic. Once you get used to that, or you come into it with the expectation that it's not going to be quick, the engine is actually not too bad at all. Free revving, torquey, easy to use, very placid. However, you can ring it out and ride it hard. Off-road, it gets along a really good clip, and you probably wouldn't want anything faster than that off-road. It chugs, it gets good traction. It's a very good motor. Just don't go expecting a fast motorcycle. I mean, it's got about 40 horsepower and weighs roughly 195 kilograms. It's always going to be slow.
In terms of fueling, there's no other way to put it. In stock form, mine was bad. When you were on the gas, it was actually really good, but the on-off throttle was awful. I'd go as far as saying it's one of the worst bikes I've ridden or owned. Yes, it was that bad. Here's the thing though, a lot of people are saying their fueling is great. An equal amount are saying theirs is snatchy. I'm not sure if this is a quality control issue, but there are some serious variances in fueling on this bike. For me personally, I've tried everything and ended up sending the easier way to Twin City dyno tuning to have it flashed. It now performs how I expected it would from the factory. It still has the odd snatchiness, but is good overall. It also has a bit more power. Always a great thing in my book. The gearbox is pretty solid. I did notice after my first service it is a bit notchier than I would like. This is mostly alleviated when I wear adventure bike or motocross boots. There have been reports of bent gear linkages and people have been installing a support bracket. Me personally, no issues. The clutch is super light, insanely light even. This initially feels great, but in the real world, I find it lacks feel, and if you ride hard, it slips. Thankfully on rides, I've been able to adjust it out. There is a possibility the clutch springs are too light. Besides these complaints, reliability wise, the bike has never let me down.
Whoa! On the brakes, don't go in there, Curtis.
Another complaint I've got are the front brakes. They're very wooden. The power is there. It's just that I take a lot of pull and a lot of really grab onto them to get the performance out of them, and there just isn't feel there. Now, I'm putting some new brake pads on it before I get rid of it, and I'll update down in the comments if that makes a difference. It could just be from the factory, it's got cheap brake pads. I mean, not expensive brakes. The bike's built to a budget, but it could be the brake pads are letting it down. I'll see how they go. But yeah, the front brake's a bit wooden. The rear brake I actually really like, and it's performed well off-road. One of the good things is it's got the bendy lever here. I've hit that a fair few times, no issues, haven't caused any damage to the bike. Fuel economy wise, I'm getting 4.6 litres per 100 kilometres over the whole time I've had the motorcycle. So it's pretty economical. Some people would think it could be lower, being that it's a 450. However, the trade-off is being a 450, you have to push it a bit harder on the highway when you get 120, 130 kilometers per hour. You can actually see it creep up and up and up. If you're just commuting to and from work and doing basic adventure bike riding, it's a quite economical motorcycle, and it's got a decent sized fuel tank as well. You get really good mileage out of a tank. Let's talk mods. We'll start off with what I've done. At the back, we've got the B&B rear luggage plate, which is also a pillion handle delete. We've got the B&B rear luggage side plates. We have the B&B exhaust hanger, B&B case saver, B&B chain guard. We got the rad guard radiator guard. We got the OEM CF Moto crash bars. B&B bash plate, and that's the more serious option. They got two options. That's the more advanced one for off-road riding. I got an Aichi Android Auto unit on here, uni filter, foam filter, and we also got an SSB Power Sports lithium battery. Oh, also we got the bark busters, can't forget them as well, and tyres. Look, tyres up. We're not going to talk about them because tyres are very personal, but I've got the Midas Enduro Trail XT Plus tyres on my bike. So what mods would I recommend doing? If you're riding on the street, just leave the bike as it is and save your money. You don't need to do anything. It's not until you get off-road or into proper adventure bike riding, which this bike is designed to do, where I would definitely recommend putting on a set of handguards. These bark busters have been absolutely fantastic, and they're made specifically for this bike. And a bash plate. You need the bash plate, guys. The stock one is no good. It's super thin and dents easily, and then you're getting in a world of hurt when you get into the big rocks and even ones that just flick up. Also the crash bars, yeah, I would get them. You got a plan for the slide, as they say, not the ride. Just chuck them on. They're a really good unit, these, and the price is definitely right. They're cheap, they're like $190, and they've been absolutely fantastic. We're a little bit fiddly to fit, had to try and get them square, but once they're on, they're a really good unit and haven't moved at all and protected the bike extremely well. When you're getting into the more serious adventure bike riding and dirt, definitely chuck in a foam filter. The uni filter one has been very good, and I can definitely recommend it. Now the other stuff, it's kind of neither here nor there depending on the type of riding you're doing. Me personally, I use soft luggage, and it probably could have gone without the luggage side plates. However, they are fantastic and the build quality is great, and this is very vain, but they look trick. And it makes it just really easy to chuck your bags on. You can attach them to these various points all along it, and they're absolutely rock solid and don't go anywhere. That's a personal thing though, because it depends on the luggage you are using. And if you're using hard luggage, which I would not recommend doing for proper adventure bike riding, they won't work for you. But I can say these are fantastic and work well with my Endurostand bags. The one thing I wouldn't recommend running is this rear luggage plate. That's not because it's not a good product, it's because for me, I don't use it, and it's also heavy. It deletes the pillion handles, which is great. I think it looks good, and I never have a pillion. And that also makes it easier to put your luggage on, just looping it all through. You can still do it, it's just easier. However, the weight is all up the top here. It's like 3-4 kilos all at the top, and I never use it. You know, I use Endurostand bags, and they have a molly system that goes across, say here, I believe it is, and you can attach your top bag to that. So I don't use this. If you are doing more touring style riding, yes, chuck one on. It's got all the points in it. It's fantastic. And I'm not saying it's a bad product, just for me, I don't use it. And the weight is noticeable. This is the one mod where I put it on and I went, oh, the bike's starting to feel a bit heavier. That's because that weight is up top. And that's one thing at the bike I noticed now it's all modded up. There is a bit more weight there. You could easily rectify that. Take off the luggage side plates, get rid of that, and that's 5 kilos probably there instantly. So that is one thing you can do. Oh, forgot to mention the Mustard Bike's tail tidy as well. Now I chose that one specifically because I was looking at all the ones online, AliExpress and some of the other ones made in Australia, and I went, they look shit, like all the wires all exposed underneath. This one protects all the wires, it's all in underneath, and it's got all the metal there. It's been fantastic, and I've put this thing through the ringer. Had no issues with it at all, and I've seen other ones where the number plate's still hitting your rear tyre. Haven't had that issue on this bike. All the other mods have been great. They've been really good. The Radguard, I always recommend the Radguard. They're a fantastic company, guys. They're nice and light. I did have the B&B radiator guard, but I gave that away because it's too heavy duty for me. I was like, man, this thing is an absolute tank. It kind of does lateral movement as well, and that would work great on a dirt bike, but for me on this bike, I thought the Radguard would be a better option, especially with that B&B bash plate. It just gives you so much coverage as well. So I went with the Radguard on the front. Now in terms of weight, the bike is a little bit more than I would like, especially now I've got some of these mods on. But as I've said to people in the past, at this price, you can't expect a bike to be light as well. Something is going to give. It's got all these accessories and features. It can't also be light as well and have amazing performance at this price point. That's why something like the Aprilia Tuareg, that's actually not far off in terms of weight. It'd be like 5 kilos more, but has a lot more performance. But it's also double the price. And that's one of the great things about this bike is the price point. Man, it is just on point. In terms of build quality, overall, it is really good. Like, this has kind of set a new standard for the price. The only things I can nitpick is some of the fasteners. They're kind of cheap and soft, especially the Allen keys. All over the engine, those ones are fine. It's not till you get to the Allen keys and a couple other knick-knack bolts here and there. You need good tools or you're gonna strip them. So overall, what do I think of the bike and would I recommend buying it? Yes, I would recommend buying the bike. You're probably surprised because I've said a fair few negatives in this video, but at this price point, this bike gives you such a good base. The only thing I can really pick on is the fueling. That's the one thing, you know, your mileage may vary, and I think that could be a bit of a Q&A issue with something on the bike because a lot of people haven't had an issue at all. But everything else, if you want it to be more of an adventure tourer, add your luggage racks on, do your other stuff. You can do the gearing on it as well, put a comfy seat on it, and you're away. If you want to make it more off-road focused, get your suspension done. It's a bit of an animal when the suspension is done on the bike. Lighten the bike up where you can, foam filters, crash protection, and you are away. From a value proposition, this bike is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's about 10 grand out the door in Australia, then you spend $1,500 on it, and you have a serious adventure bike. All right, everyone, if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. I have a lot of videos on the bike, including a whole build series, so check that out if you haven't. And I've now moved on to the 800 MTX, and I'm gonna do a build series on that as well. All right, keep it on the back wheel, everyone. Catches.